Many thanks for joining us for this edition of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. My name is Edward Kabasa. Our sign language interpreter is Steve Ndunde. The National Assembly is currently in the process of considering some estimates forwarded to it by the Treasury. Of course, we do expect the budget to be read tomorrow. You can interact with us to that regard. What are your expectations in this year's budget? The number to do that through is 22162. You can also tweet us at KBC Channel 1. The hashtag is Budget KE 2018. Budget KE 2018. We would love to hear your thoughts. But first things first, 3 Kenya administration police officers who were arrested by Ugandan police along the shores of Lake Victoria have been released. The 3 were released following the intervention of Siaya County Commissioner Jacob Narengo. However, 6 fishermen are still being held by Ugandan authorities.
It was the latest in a boundary spat between Kenya and her neighbor Uganda, and which had threatened to rekindle a bitter row for the 2 East African nations.
Hello? Hello?
3 administration police officers and 6 fishermen were apprehended by Ugandan authorities Monday on allegations of trespassing into Uganda along the shores of Lake Victoria.
Na madai ya kufyatuliana risasi ilikuwepo sababu hiyo ndio ilifanya maafisa wetu wajisalimishe. Walikuwa 3 na hao wengine walikuwa wengi. Kwa huko mnaelewa kwamba hao wenzetu kila mara wanasema watu wetu wamefanya nini? Wamepuka mpaka ama wanatumia wrong gears. Those are the allegations.
It took the intervention of Siaya County Commissioner Jacob Narengo to have the 3 police officers released, avoiding a possible diplomatic face-off between Kenya and Uganda. Narengo says the meeting has been convened for Tuesday between authorities from neighboring countries to discuss and craft an amicable solution to the persistent Kenyan fishermen harassment by Ugandan authorities.
Tumesikizana kwamba kutakuwa na kikao maalum ambaye itakuwa cross-border meeting na Uganda Jumanne hapa Busia. Tutazungumzia kwa undani maneno ya harassment ya wavuvi wetu kutoka Siaya, jaribu kujadiliana katika.
Uganda Area District Commissioner Hussein Matanda says the arrest was routine but urged Kenyan fishermen to observe the law to avoid unnecessary friction.
Uganda has regulations, and we insist that those regulations must be respected by even our Kenyan counterparts.
The arrest of the officers became a subject of discussion on social media, with Kenyans accusing Uganda of taking Kenya for granted.
And in other matters, the ongoing crackdown on gambling machines has extended to West Pokot and Embu counties as the government seeks to rid the country of a vice that has been blamed for a host of social ills. 195 gambling machines valued at 13 million shillings were destroyed in Embu, with a further 11 machines confiscated in West Pokot County.
The fight against gambling machines has been intensified after the government announced a ban on the importation as well as the operation with illegal gambling blamed for the continued decay of the moral fabric of the society. A contingent of security officers led by Eastern Regional Commissioner Wycliffe Ogalo raided several premises, confiscating 195 machines before destroying them. Ogalo saying that 2 suspects have been since arrested in connection with the importation of the gaming machines, including a Chinese national. In West Pokot County, a similar operation was underway where 11 machines were confiscated. The operation was prompted by an outcry from parents and guardians who attributed declining education standards in the region to illegal gambling.
Tangu hizi mashini zije, watoto wamekosa kwenda shule na wanajihusisha na utovu wa nidhamu. Kwa hivyo serikali imetoa onyo wale wote ambao wako na hizi mashini, tutazichukua, tutazichoma.
West Pokot Deputy County Commissioner Khalif Abdullahi said the operation targeted Makutano, Otum and Chepareria towns.
Mashini zote zitachukuliwa na mwisho wa mwezi huu katika kaunti ya West Pokot hatutakuwa na mashini yoyote.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i announced the ban on the machines last month and ordered a crackdown on gaming and betting dens as it moved to stem the growing gambling problem. For Lunchtime News, I'm Kaltun Jama.
The Employment and Labour Relations Court has set aside orders suspending the vetting of government procurement and finance officers. Justice Onesmus Makau further ordered all procurement and accounting officers to provide their personal information to the head of public service within 10 days to allow for fresh vetting to commence.
Of procurement and accounting units in ministries, departments and state corporations will now have to step aside to allow fresh vetting by the government. In a ruling by the Employment and Labour Relations Court, Judge Onesmus Makau, the targeted officers should proceed on compulsory leave on grounds that the government has the right to send its employees on compulsory leave in order to vet them afresh. Justice Makau disclosed that earlier orders suspending the fresh vetting of all procurement officers was issued without proper disclosure of facts, directing all procurement and accounting officers to within 10 days submit their personal information to the head of public service documents to allow their employer time to vet them.
The defense has shown willingness to compromise the timelines for compliance with the impunity circular, provided that it is done within limits of reasonableness. Indeed, the Solicitor General of the Republic of Kenya drew the present application on behalf of the Attorney General, attended court, and made the said undertaking on behalf of the government. I find that undertaking genuine and a gesture of good faith, considering the fact that the ex parte order was mainly to protect concerned employees from victimization through disciplinary action for failing to provide the required information within the short duration given by the impunity circular.
The orders coming barely hours after the government and the petitioner Okia Omutata failed to settle the matter out of court.
We are going as a government now to proceed with this process as authorized by the court, and I want to assure public officers and the public at large that this process is going to be conducted in strict compliance with the Constitution and the law. There is no witch hunt that is going to occur. Everybody is going to be given the opportunity to present the information that is required, and this will be done fairly and with respect to the fundamental rights of all the public officers.
Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula has hinted that he will be on the ballot in the 2022 elections. Wetangula, who has since reached out to the Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi to work as a team, accused NASA leader Raila Odinga of betraying the opposition cause by working with the Jubilee government.
The 2022 political repositioning seems to be gaining ground fast, even before the dust of the last general election settles. The latest coming from Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula, who joins the growing number of those with the 2022 presidential ambitions.
In politics, you never say never. But as a party, we can't start off by looking for coalitions. We must look for strength. It is our strength that will make us be able to engage anybody else in future.
The Ford Kenya party leader took on the NASA leader Raila Odinga for betraying the opposition dream after the famous handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
So structurally and politically and legally, we have a NASA structure. But you know very well that our presidential candidate for NASA has done what he has done, and that has not encouraged the continuation of NASA.
Elsewhere, a section of Jubilee leaders, led by Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko, have lauded the government onslaught on corruption, saying there should be no sacred cow in the fight.
Rais amefanya kazi nzuri sana kushika wafisadi, kuwapeleka jela, na tunampongeza rais kwa hilo.
The leaders, however, said the suspects should not be denied bail as per the law.
Kwa hivyo wale wakiwa wameshikwa ni Wakenya, ni wazazi, PSO wangu ni mzazi, ni Mkikuyu, akona watoto, wajani wazimbet vita, dhidi ya corruption, mpaka una defy constitution na katiba. Mimi naomba mahakama, Chief Justice, Judiciary, High Court, wale wameshikwa wamepata adabu, wafanye kesi zao wakiwa nje.
Cabinet Secretary for East African Community Peter Munya has in the meantime attributed the ethnicization of political space and non-acceptance of electoral results as the cause of most deaths in East Africa.
Such protracted conflict are not only have a debilitating impact on the continent's pathways to development, but also place huge strain on the peacekeeping and peace building of African states and regional institutions.
And Tharaka Nithi Governor Muthomi Njuki wants the Senate to come up with a law that will give deputy governors more roles to avoid frequent clashes in the counties.
Ile kazi deputy governor anafaa kufanya iko kwa katiba, kwa sababu wanafaa kufanya kitu inaitwa deputize. Lakini kuna wengine wamefika kule wakaamua kwamba mimi nitanalia kazi yote. Hakuna mtu dunia hii anaweza fanya kazi ya serikali akiwa peke yake.
Samson Kitavi, Lunchtime News.
The implementation of the recently enacted water bill in Kiambu County could be in jeopardy after a section of area residents went to court seeking its suspension. The group under the Kiambu County Community Water Users Association successfully petitioned the court to have the legislation suspended until the matter is heard and determined. The case will come up for hearing next week.
Over 1,000 members of the Kiambu County Community Water Users Association this morning went to court seeking to stop the implementation of the Kiambu County Government Water Act. The group is accusing the county administration of working in isolation, terming the legislation as draconian.
These independent water companies spread out throughout Kiambu, which not only source water, which are not only lawfully licensed, but have been built and resourced and managed by the contributions of the independent members, and they have their own constitutions. So the proposition to take over the running and management of those companies, in our view, is unconstitutional, and that's what we'll be asking the court to consider.
The court found the application valid and ordered a halt to the implementation of the act, pending a hearing on the same next week. The group says that the move to seek the intervention of the courts was prompted by a lack of public participation, which is an integral element in the legislation. Victor Muyakane, Channel 1.
Students from a secondary school in the city have come together to assist vulnerable children housed at a children's home in Athi River, Machakos County. The students donated a range of items including foodstuff, toiletries, learning materials and beddings, and also shared time with the over 90 orphans at the facility.
The students had gathered at Mama's Idea home in Machakos to spend time with the over 90 orphans housed in the facility. The students from the Aga Khan High School later donated a range of items, including foodstuffs, toiletries, learning materials and beddings. Yusuf Maroka, a teacher at the Aga Khan High School, noted that the parents should teach children to give to the needy from a very tender age so as to harness brotherhood in the future.
The month of Ramadan is also a month of giving out and supporting and generosity. So it has come at the right time, but it is a continuous event. In future we might be doing it every term. Now we are doing once a year, but in future we might be doing it every time.
The school's principal, Ambrose Minor, said the initiative is part of the new curriculum Practical Lessons of Community Service, aimed at bridging the gap among people in the society. Saidia Hooker, the home's administrator, hailed the gesture, saying he has been facing a number of challenges in running the facility, which include lack of school fees and poor feeding programs due to insufficient resources, and calls on well-wishers to chip in.
Kuna watoto 90, wavulana ni 47 na wasichana ni 43. Changamoto ambayo kwamba inatukumba kwa sasa ni rent, chakula, mshahara ya walimu na wafanyikazi na
You are watching Channel 1 Lunchtime News. We're taking a quick break, but don't go too far. And we expect the budget to be read tomorrow. We have a hashtag for that. The hashtag is BudgetKE 2018. You can share your expectations with us, and this will go on until the CS Treasury delivers that particular address to Parliament tomorrow. This is Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Time for that break now.
Crazy for Christ. He got me going.
I want you to finish this job by tonight. And if you cannot finish it, you can as well consider yourself as having lost your job.
They killed my uncle Alex, and now they're after my mom.
Wait.
Have you killed her yet? Because her phone is not going through.
I've got absolutely no idea who you're talking about.
I'm wondering why you're still breathing.
Jaribu. Jaribu kumuguza ndio utajua mimi ni nani.
We have sleepless nights all the time. It's a matter of just paying attention, I think. It's paying attention to what you need and when you need to do it by. So sometimes, like her who is in production, she's working Saturday and Sunday nights because there's a big order on Monday.
As an entrepreneur, maybe I would say the first thing is, can my business work without me?
Road to Success, only on KBC Channel 1.
This is Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Welcome back. Farmers are warning of a possible food shortage owing to a locust invasion that has so far destroyed crops in 5 counties. The latest invasion has been reported in Garissa, prompting the region's Kenya's Farmer Federation to appeal to the government to declare the invasion a national disaster and embark on a massive aerial spraying exercise. Isiolo, Turkana, Samburu and Baringo are among some of the counties that have been affected.
These are the scenes left behind owing to a locust invasion. Farmers left counting the losses as the locusts leave a trail of destruction. A state of affairs that has seen the Kenya Farmers Federation in Garissa call on the government to intervene as a matter of urgency.
I am appealing to the government and the donors, FAO, IGAD, African Union, to come to our side up with massive spraying of this area. With massive spraying of these areas so that it does not cross to the other counties.
The farmers say the invasion that has so far affected 5 counties is of national concern, calling on the government and non-governmental organizations such as FAO to move with speed.
Very destructive, and the state of emergency should be declared. All resources should be mobilized to make sure that this thing is contained. Otherwise, there will be no food, there will be no grass. It will be the most disastrous thing.
The Farmers Federation is warning that the problem is threatening to spread southwards, and if left unchecked, to reach the country's breadbasket counties of Trans Nzoia, Enwas and Gishu. A desert locust adult can consume roughly its own weight in free food per day. This means a swarm of locusts can eat the same amount of food as 2,500 people in one day.
Narok East Assistant County Commissioner Daniel Nyakundi has read the Riot Act to parents in the region, warning them against condoning female genital mutilation and child labor. Nyakundi says there is an increase in minors working in farms and attending to cattle despite the government declaring basic education free and compulsory. He has pledged to conduct a crackdown. Those found engaging children as laborers will be prosecuted.
In them coming, Mama. The eagles are coming. They want to grab us.
As the globe prepares to mark the International Day of the African Child on Saturday, Narok County Assistant Commissioner Daniel Nyakundi is warning of serious repercussions to those violating the rights of children by secretly engaging in female genital mutilation and child labor.
Mapema zikifanyika, mtoto anatolewa, anapelekwa shule. Anatolewa shule, anaolewa. Na sisi kama wazazi, kama viongozi tumeangalia. Sasa haitakuwa wimbo ya kawaida. Tunakubaliana watu wa Narok East, watu wa Oletu Kati. Tumeona mtoto akiolewa mapema. Mbona mtoto asipewe wakati wake amalize shule? Akimaliza shule, aende pia naye apate masomo, akuje kujisaidia. From there mtoto yeye mwenyewe ataamua wakati wa kuolewa.
He urged chiefs and assistant chiefs to crack the whip and ensure those whose children are out of school are prosecuted. At the same time, Narok East Children's Officer Pilot Khaemba pledged to continue offering a safe haven for girls who have been forced to undergo FGM, calling for an end to the outdated practice. Khaemba expressed concern that minors are working in their parents' businesses, calling for vigilance to ensure that they enroll and stay in school.
Paliana na chiefs na chairman wa primary schools na secondary schools zote za hapa ya kwamba kila mtoto atarudishwa shule. Itakuwa jukumu la wale viongozi ya shule kuhakikisha wanaleta list kwa wale watoto ambao
A new technology to tap water from the atmosphere has been introduced in Samburu County as efforts to find alternative sources of clean and safe water intensifies. The atmospheric water generator concept at Losuk Rescue Center consists of 40 hydro solar panels with a capacity to yield 200 liters of water daily.
Predominantly pastoralist communities have for years relied on rainwater for their livestock and daily needs, and with unpredictable weather patterns, the cycle has proved unreliable. A new technology to address water challenges at the Samburu Girls Foundation's Losuk Rescue Center is, however, offering hope that clean and safe water can be harvested even in areas where rains are not as common.
Tulikuwa tunadhani kama maji inatoka huko juu, lakini kumbe ni hewa tu, alafu inajaa, then tunapata clean water. So
Zero Mass Water, a company from German, has donated and installed 40 hydro solar panels that will be tapping water from the atmosphere to reduce water shortage that has often affected the institution. The technology works by condensing water vapor in the air by cooling the air below its dew point, exposing the air to desiccants or pressurizing the air.
solar panels that instead of making electricity, make water. When the sun comes up, we basically take water from the atmosphere. We produce pure water that is then mineralized and then stored inside of a reservoir that we can then pump to a tap.
Samburu Girls Foundation Chief Executive Officer Dr. Josephine Kulea says the project will address water shortage in the area.
Nguzia gharama ya kwenda hospitali na pia itatuwezesha wasichana wetu kusoma, kutakuwa na nafasi kubwa ya wasichana kusoma badala ya kwenda kuchota maji.
Meanwhile, Samburu County Commissioner John Korir has called on the local community to discard retrogressive cultural practices that have acted to derail the development of the girl child. Irene Mchuma Odim, the Lunchtime News.
Thank you very much, Irene, for that beautiful story. Over 100 residents of rural village in Gatundu, Kiambu County are living in fear of cholera outbreak due to stagnant water at a playground in the area. Locals claim the only pit latrine in the playground is overflowing to the field, and raw sewage could find its way to contaminate water points in the region.
The residents said that the water has remained in the playground and the only latrine in the area is overflowing, discharging raw seawater to the ground, adding to a list of their problems. Paul Njoroge, a resident, says he has been forced to leave his home and stay in a rental home with his family after his house was marooned.
Yaliyonitorosha kwangu ni mvua ilinyesha sana. Nikakuja kwenye uwanja wa mpira ulioko karibu na mimi, na huo uwanja ukafuja ukaingia nyumba kwangu, mpaka nikaona zina lingine la kufanya.
Apart from a cholera outbreak, locals says mosquitoes have made their life difficult in the area. They are now pleading with the county government to help drain the water from the playground.
A campaign that seeks to train bodaboda riders on safety measures while on the road has been launched. Speaking in Kakamega during the event, Total Kenya Lubricant Sales Manager Oliver Biogo said there are about 4.8 million motorcycles, majority of whom are bodaboda operators. During the event, a new lubricant dubbed High Puff Lubricant that targets bodaboda merchants, mechanics, dealers and riders across the country was launched.
Watu Total Kenya, na leo tunafurahi sana kuja Kakamega because tumekuja Kakamega ku launch product ambayo ni ya pikipiki ama bodaboda vile inajulikana sana, ambayo ni Total High Puff. So Kakamega ni hii oil ya pikipiki ama bodaboda ambayo inaitwa Total High Puff, because bodaboda tunajua ile significance ambayo inafanya katika economy ya Kenya. Na zile namba za pikipiki ambazo ziko Kenya na zile shida ambazo wanapitia kila siku kufanya kazi zao, ndio Total imetengeneza hii product ambayo ni product inatumika kwa pikipiki. Na the reason why ni very specific kutumika kwa pikipiki ni kwamba pikipiki inahitaji oil ambayo itafanya kazi tatu ama kazi kwa viungo vitatu. Itafanya kazi kwa engine, kwa gearbox na pia kwa clutch ya pikipiki. So hii oil inatumika kufanya hizo kazi zote tatu: kutunza engine, kufanya maisha ya pikipiki iongezeke, na pia ile kiwango ya kubadilisha oil kufanya pia iweze kuongezeka, ndio yule ambaye mwenye pikipiki aweze kusave pesa ama ile kazi anafanya.
Let's go.
And to other matters making headlines across our borders, Saudi-backed forces have begun an assault on the key Yemeni port of Hodeidah, the main point of entry for aid for people in rebel-held areas. About 8 million people in the war-torn country are at risk of starvation. Humanitarian agencies have warned of a catastrophe if it is attacked.
The government stated that the liberation of Hodeida port is a turning point in the struggle to recapture Yemen from the militias that hijacked it to serve foreign agenda. Bombing started after Iranian-backed Houthi rebels ignored a deadline set by the government to withdraw. Exiled the government of President Abdurrabur Mansour Hadi said efforts to persuade the rebels had been exhausted. The Saudi-led coalition also accused the rebels of using Hodeida to smuggle Iranian weapons, where both Iran and the rebels denied the claims. The liberation of Hodeida began with a large-scale ground assault supported by air and naval cover from a Saudi-led multinational coalition.